What I'm about to say might make you uncomfortable, but I think it needs to be said. Imagine spending 5 years of your life, every night, every weekend, preparing for the hardest exam in India. You crack UPSC, you're in the top few hundred out of millions who tried, and within 6 months of your first posting, you're taking bribes. This isn't a movie plot. I'm going to read real names to you, right now in front of you from public court records and government filings, because you deserve to know exactly who we're talking about. These are not rumors. These are public records, CBI filings, Enforcement Directorate charges, Supreme Court judgments, and state vigilance reports. Case first, Demon Chakma, IAS officer, 2021 batch, Odisha, January 2025, 36 years old, cracked UPSC in 2021. By January 2025, the Odisha Vigilance Directorate caught him red-handed, accepting a 10 lakh bribe. He had allegedly demanded 20 lakh total from a local businessman, threatening official harassment if he didn't pay up. A sting operation, a trap. He walked right into it. This is someone who passed one of the world's hardest exams just 4 years ago. Case second, Sanjeev Hans, IS officer, 1997 batch, Bihar, 2025. This one is particularly striking. 1997 batch, nearly 3 decades in service. The Enforcement Directorate arrested him in 2025 under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. He allegedly took a 4% commission on contracts worth thousands of crores in the Bihar Energy Department. Properties transferred to his father's name, his girlfriend's name. He had previously served as personal secretary to a union minister. Case 3rd, Dhananjaya Reddy, IAS officer, Andhra Pradesh, 2024, arrested in the Andhra Pradesh liquor scam, charged under Section 13(2) of the Prevention of Corruption Act, abuse of public office, convicted after a state vigilance probe. Case 4th, K. Rajesh, IAS officer, 2011 batch, Gujarat, arrested by the CBI, allegedly accepted bribes for issuing gun licenses, also implicated in land deals while serving as collector of Surendranagar district. Case 5th, Neera Yadav, IAS officer, Uttar Pradesh. Multiple land scams across UP and NCR. Allotted plots in prime localities to politicians and businessmen in exchange for money. The Supreme Court of India convicted her in 2017 and sentenced her to 2 years in prison. The highest court in the land had to step in. Case 6th, Babulal Agrawal, IAS officer, State Agriculture Secretary, income tax raids, uncovered assets exceeding 500 crores, 446 Benami bank accounts, 16 shell companies, one officer, one parallel financial empire. The easy answer is they're greedy. But that doesn't explain why the pattern is so consistent across batches, states, and decades. There's something structural happening here. Reason one said the power salary mismatch. A starting IS officer earns roughly 56,000 a month, but in their hands sits the power to approve contracts worth crores, clear land acquisitions, control police postings, and issue licenses. When a builder walks in and says 5 lakh and your 2 crore file gets cleared tomorrow, the calculation isn't moral, it's economic. This is a system design failure before it is a character failure. Second reason, the investment recovery mentality. The average UPSC aspirant spends 5 7 years preparing, 310 lakh on coaching, quit jobs, missed weddings, family sacrifices. Some officers, consciously or not, mentally frame their posting as the return on that investment. I'm not justifying it. I'm saying we can't fix what we refuse to understand. Third reason, environmental normalization. A junior officer joins a department. Week 1, a senior pulls them aside. This is how things work here. It goes up the chain. You can't be the lone honest one. If they refuse, transfer in 48 hours to a remote posting. If they complain, a politically managed inquiry. They've been dropped into a rigged game with no neutral exit. Fourth reason, the punishment doesn't exist. In 3 years, the central government sanctioned prosecution against only 16 IAS officers. Just two were dismissed on corruption charges. Suspend an officer, they keep receiving their salary, often 50,000, 80,000 a month. Article 311 makes dismissal so legally complex that courts can take a decade. A rational corrupt officer runs the numbers, worst case, 2 years suspension, salary continues, then reinstatement. There is no real deterrent. What happens after the first bribe? Can they stop? This is the part nobody talks about. Everyone focuses on catching the corrupt officer. Nobody asks, once they've started, is stopping even possible? Stage 1, the first bribe, cognitive shift. Psychological research on white collar crime is consistent on this. The first bribe triggers a cognitive restructuring. The brain doesn't say, I did something wrong. It says, I've worked harder than anyone, I deserve more than the system gives me. This is just correcting an imbalance. That self justification loop, once started, is extremely hard to break. They're not just taking money anymore, they're adopting a new identity. And next, the lifestyle escalation trap. The first bribe is small, 10,000 maybe, then 50,000, then 5 lakh. Why? Because the lifestyle has upgraded. New car, children in expensive schools, foreign holidays, and last, the network trap. This is why they cannot stop. Here is the thing that most people miss entirely: a corrupt officer rarely operates alone. The senior above them takes a cut, the subordinate below expects a cut. The politician needs their services. If the officer tries to stop, the senior above them will expose them. Can the mentality be changed? My honest take: individually, almost impossible from the inside once the network stage is reached. The identity shift, the financial dependency, the network threat, all three lock the person in. But systemically, yes. The research on corruption deterrence is clear. The probability of punishment matters more than its severity. When an officer believes there is a near zero chance of being caught and prosecuted, no amount of moral education changes behavior. Change the probability of consequences, and the calculation changes. That is the only lever that actually works at scale. Here's the thing about Indian corruption that makes it so hard to break: it's not rogue officers going off script. In many cases, corruption is the script, the unwritten rule in Indian bureaucracy. A loyal officer gets good postings, promotions, and protection. An officer who says no gets transferred, or sometimes within 48 hours, to a hardship posting with no resources and no visibility. Officers need political cover. They need protection from transfers, from inquiries, from rivals within the bureaucracy, and when the CBI or ED starts an investigation, prosecution sanction must be given by the government, the same government that benefits from loyal officers. The investigation itself becomes a political weapon, used selectively against opposition officers, while your own officers remain untouched. Now let's talk about our neighbors, how China handled what China did. You decide what to think. I want to be very clear up front. I am not saying China is a model to copy. Their system has serious political misuse issues and human rights concerns, but when we're talking specifically about corruption accountability, the numbers are impossible to ignore. In 2012, Xi Jinping launched what became the most extensive anti corruption campaign in Chinese Communist Party history. He called it Tigers and Flies. High ranking officials and grassroots servants, nobody exempt. By 2023, 2.3 million government officials prosecuted, over 1 million corruption cases investigated, 3,453 fugitives extradited from 90 plus countries under Operation Fox Hunt, punishment scale, imprisonment, full property confiscation, in serious cases, death penalty. In 2024, China updated its criminal law. Companies found guilty of bribery now face 10 years imprisonment, up from 5. Repeat offenders, life imprisonment. They built a dedicated agency, the CCDI, that operates independently of local political structures. They created WeChat whistleblower apps. Whistleblowers get financial rewards. In India, meanwhile, 16 prosecution sanctions in 3 years. Suspension with full salary, a decade in courts. Why are the rules so weak? The design problem. Article 311, designed to protect, weaponized to shield, originally intended to protect civil servants from arbitrary political dismissal, a genuinely good idea, but it created a process so legally layered that dismissing even a provably corrupt officer takes years in courts. Good intent, catastrophic side effect. The prosecution loop. Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, the government must sanction prosecution before an officer can be tried. The same government. That conflict of interest is not a bug, it is built into the law. Suspension with salary. This one is simple. An officer suspended for corruption continues drawing full salary, in some documented cases, for years. There is no financial pain, no urgency to resolve the 48-hour public memory cycle. A corruption case breaks, it trends for 2 days, then the next news cycle arrives. The officer is quietly reinstated 6 months later. No follow up reporting, no public tracking, no accountability. Now, I'm about to close this video, but before I do, I want to leave you with one final thought. So, where does all of this leave us? My view, and I want to be very clear, is that this is not simply a story about a few bad officers. It is a story about a system that repeatedly produces the same outcome, again and again, across generations. The officer who cracked UPSC at 24 with idealism may not be the same officer at 34 because incentives changed, pressure changed, protection changed, and accountability disappeared, and that should worry all of us. Because bureaucracy is not royalty. Government officers are public servants. Their salaries come from public money, from taxpayers, from ordinary citizens, from private employees working long hours, from small business owners, from people paying GST on daily necessities. In reality, citizens are not supposed to fear the system. The system is supposed to serve citizens. Power in a democracy is temporary, public money is not. And when public institutions stop serving people and start protecting themselves, trust collapses. So, what could actually change this? Not speeches, not temporary outrage, not trending hashtags for 48 hours. Real structural accountability, automatic salary suspension, not just duty suspension, during serious corruption investigations, independent prosecution bodies that do not require political permission to act, mandatory annual public asset disclosures that any citizen can search online, fast track corruption courts, permanent public tracking of corruption cases, so cases cannot quietly disappear after the media cycle ends. Because right now, the system understands something very clearly: public outrage is temporary. The news cycle moves on, people forget, and silence protects corruption more effectively than power ever could. That is why social pressure matters. That is why independent journalism matters. That is why responsible use of social media matters. If citizens stop paying attention, accountability disappears in darkness. So, my appeal is simple: ask questions, document abuse, speak responsibly, expose corruption with evidence, use your voice, use your platform, because this is your money, your institutions, your future. That's my point of view. Yours may be completely different, and that's okay. I genuinely want to hear your perspective in the comments. The sources for everything I said today are in the description. Share this if you found it useful. Awareness is step one. Thanks for watching.